Hello, and you are very welcome to Cut Through the Noise with me, Aisling O'Rourke. This is the podcast for business leaders who want to increase sales through elevated communications and marketing. Here on Cut Through the Noise, we don't just talk theory. No, we deliver actionable advice on how you can connect with your audience in order to grow your business. Thank you for tuning in to this week's show and welcome to season 7 of Cut Through the Noise. Today's episode is a solo one, and this one's for you if you've ever hesitated before sharing a successful project, sharing a new project that you're proud of with someone that you care about, or even if you've hesitated before posting online. Maybe you thought, I don't want to come across as being boastful, or what if people think I'm just showing off? Worse still, I've noticed a trend amongst my clients where professionals, particularly those doing genuinely good work, are holding back from sharing what they're doing because they're simply afraid of being criticised, or worse still, even cancelled. And I think today it's time that we unpack that. So, in this episode, I want to talk to you about why it's not just okay to communicate your successes, it's in fact essential. I want to walk you through 3 key reasons why sharing your work matters, how to do it with intention, and how to strike a balance between authenticity and professionalism. And no, it's not easy. And no, it doesn't guarantee that you'll never ever face criticism, but it does guarantee that you will show up in the best way possible. Aisling here, interrupting the show to remind you about the Clarity Collective. If you're a business owner, solopreneur, or team leader who wants to communicate with confidence, attract the right clients, and clarify your messaging, then stay with me. Let me speak with you about the Clarity Collective and how it can transform your business. So, what exactly is the Clarity Collective? It's a monthly mastermind program designed for independent business owners who want to elevate your communication skills and build stronger, more authentic brands. We want to work together to help you connect with your target market. We meet on the first Monday morning of the month, excluding bank holidays, and you are more than welcome. If you'd like to find out more, send me an email to hello@thecommunicationscoach.ie or simply click on the link in the show notes on your preferred podcast player. Now back to today's episode. Sharing your successes is about building visibility, and visibility builds trust. So let's start off at the very beginning. Sharing your work builds visibility. People need to see your work consistently in order to understand what you do, how you do it, and most importantly, why you do it. Whether you're a small business owner, a team leader, a freelancer, or a creative, your audience, be that clients, collaborators, or potential customers, they can't support or refer to you if they don't know what you're doing. And you see, frequently I see people assuming that their target audience knows what they do because they shared it 6 months ago on LinkedIn or on TikTok. When you don't remind the audience of what it is that you do and how they can support you, when you stay silent or are overly modest, you're not being humble. You're not even being professional. You're making yourself invisible. And I get it. It's something that I struggled with quite a long time when I set myself up in my own business, thecommunicationscoach.ie. I completely understand how challenging it can be to share your successes confidently because, well, here in Ireland, we're brought up with the adage of letting our work speak for itself. But the world has changed. We live in a fast-paced media landscape, and silence often equals irrelevance. More importantly, if people can't find evidence of your work, they will look elsewhere because If they can't find evidence that you can actually do what you claim to be able to do, then how do you expect them to trust you and therefore buy from you? At the end of the day, people buy from people. The trick here is a shift in our mindset. And I've had to learn how to do this for myself because in my previous work, making it all about me, sharing what I did, sharing what I was good at was actually inappropriate. But as someone who runs my own business and helps people with their communications, I've learned that I have to practice what I preach. It's why that this podcast is a video, even though I don't enjoy being on camera. So if you can try and do the mindset work and sharing your successes or sharing your work not as self-promotion, but as a service, in my experience, it makes it an awful lot easier. Think of it this way. Instead of being boastful, think of yourself as helping others. You might be helping others to learn a new skill, to inspire them to take action, or even to help them make better decisions. Simply by showing up and telling your story, you're leading by example. And even if you don't know that you're doing it or think of yourself in that way, if you can try to shift the mindset around making sure the story is about the work that you do, about the business that you run, about how people can work with you, then you're not being, arrogant about who you are as a person. You're just letting them know that you can be there to help and that you have a service to offer. You have a product that might solve a problem. Now, we can't talk about self-promotion and fear of doing it without talking about the fear of being criticized, or worse still, the massive elephant in the room, being cancelled. It is a very real concern, especially in an online world where one single post can be taken out of context and interpreted through a completely different lens. And many people that I meet in my line of work are genuinely worried about being cancelled, and as a result are staying completely silent, and their businesses are really struggling as a result. Many business owners and professionals feel that it's safer to say nothing than risk saying the wrong thing. And I do understand that. I completely understand why you might feel that way. But here's the thing. If you're doing the work, whatever that might be, with integrity, if your values are solid, if you communicate with care, if everything that you're doing is above board, the risk of backlash is in reality far lower than we often fear. I want to be really clear here. It doesn't mean you need to overshare or put everything out into the public domain. But being afraid to communicate at all isn't the answer either. We have to find a balance if we're going to grow as business owners. So I want to encourage you to put a strategy around your communications. And yes, I would say that I am a communications coach and I work with people on just that. But it's really important. There's a reason that that's what I do in my business. It's important that you both know your message and know your audience. It's important that you stay consistent. But you know what's really important? It's about being professional, thoughtful, and confident. It's not about being perfect. In fact, I firmly believe that perfection is just a concept that the human race invented as another way of punishing ourselves. It's better to get the job done, to do it in a professional, thoughtful, intentional way, than to do nothing and hide away until that fictitious point in the future when you feel you might have it perfect. Because perfect is a bar that's never reached. You have to do the work. You have to keep going with it. If something does go wrong or you get feedback that challenges you, you can engage with it. At the end of the day, engaging with the discomfort is what helps us grow. But think about that clearly before responding to it. Is the feedback coming from a useful source? And by useful, I mean, is the feedback coming from a source that has your best interest at heart, that actually knows something about you and your business because, society is very good at criticizing. So we need to be careful about who we take criticism from. It is important to reflect and to pay heed to useful, constructive criticism because there's growth to be had in there. So take a breath, say nothing for 24 hours, then take a look and see. If it's a crisis, that's where your crisis communications plan comes into play. And again, we do have a specific episode of Cut Through the Noise on tackling your crisis communications plan. But this is where a good communications coach, myself or someone else in the field, that can help you have that plan in place if the worst does happen. It's important to remember here that silence doesn't actually protect you. It removes your voice from the conversation. And removing your voice from the conversation isn't always the most productive thing to do. Having a plan in place so that you know how to respond, effectively having a list of instructions so you know what to do if something does go wrong, gives you great comfort. It means you can respond to a crisis in a professional way that does stand up to the reputation that you want to have for your business. But here's the thing. What if it doesn't go wrong? What if you don't need that crisis communications plan? What if by communicating what you do, your business starts to grow? Imagine what that could look like. Finally, today, I want to remind you that your story does matter. Sharing your story, it can have such an amazing impact. By communicating your wins, your process, and yes, even your challenges, you're giving others permission to do the same. If you're a woman in business, if you're a person with disability, from a minority group, a person of colour, or simply someone who's taken a non-linear path to your current role, you might not realise just how powerful your visibility is to someone else coming up behind you. But the people coming up behind you, they need that mentorship. They need that leadership, just like you did when you were starting out. Again, it's not about perfection, it's about representation. Sharing your story shows that there's more than one way to be successful. There's more than one voice worth listening to. It's an amazing way to create brand awareness, and that alone is a form of leadership. And leadership that I have to admit that I believe we need now more than ever. So let me quickly recap on what I've been discussing with you today. It's really important to share your success and to communicate why you do what you do and what it is that you do so that people can buy into it. Visibility builds trust. If people don't know what you're doing, they can't support or work with you. It's logical when you think about it. Fear of criticism shouldn't silence you. When you lead with values and clarity, your communications are your strength, not a liability. And remember that your story can inspire others. When you speak up, you help others to do the same and create space for voices in your field. You can do it in a really effective professional way that doesn't challenge your personal integrity, but does promote your business and your brand. So as you plan your next LinkedIn post or prepare to pitch your next project, I want you to ask yourself a question. Instead of, am I showing off? How about switching that to, am I giving people a chance to see the value that I bring to the table? Because your work deserves to be seen, and more importantly, your voice deserves to be heard. So if you needed it, I hope that's lit a fire under you to really start sharing what it is that you and your brand do and why your target market should be doing business with you. Thank you for listening to Cut Through the Noise with myself, Aisling O'Rourke. If you found the episode helpful, I'd love it if you could share it with a friend or colleague, or if you haven't already, please do remember to hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to discuss today's episode with me more, send me an email. It's hello@thecommunicationscoach.ie. Whether you're considering joining the Clarity Collective and would like to find out more, or you just want to give me feedback on the episode, I would be delighted to speak with you. Have a great week, and remember that while content may well be king, clarity is key if you want to stand out from the crowd and cut through the noise. Until next time.